I always say it's kind of the same as dating, you know, like if you're the person that is literally just like on the apps all the time, all you're ever doing is dating, you don't have any other life, people will go on a date with you and they'll be like, wow, you're so boring.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the More Chat. This is a group of conversations where we speak to some of the best in Australian business, and we're here to provide job seekers with the knowledge, confidence and perspective to do well in today's market. Because there's going to be people in different situations. You've got people in roles at the moment, ask themselves, do they stick or do they twist? Is it time for a new job or a new industry? And then we've got people who are actively looking for work. Well, we're here to speak to some of our top guests and find out their specialist skills. That might be planning, preparation, mental health, or even how to build a personal brand. So up today, we've got Bec Mitchell.
Hello, thank you for having me.
No problem at all. So a bit of an introduction to Bec. So it started at an early age. As a young child, she was always challenging and asking, how do we get more out of this thing we call life? So she went and studied physiotherapy, and she went and practiced that for 7 years. And then she wanted more. So she studied meditation and also nutrition. And then she wanted more. So currently doing a master's in psychology and neuroscience. It was pretty funny because I tried to get Bec on last week and she said, I can't, I'm in exams. And I honestly thought that people finish exams at the age of 16. She says, no, I'm studying my master's in neuroscience. I was like, okay, that's a fair enough excuse. So now what she does today is she's working with some of the best companies in the world. And it's very simple what she does. She's helping their team get the most and how to really maximize their quality of life for themselves and other people around them. So I'm super excited for this one. Everybody needs to go and grab a pen and a pencil. I've got my pen ready to go. It's going to be loads of information. So everybody, here's Bec.
Thank you so much for having me on. And that was like a way better introduction to myself than I think I possibly could ever have done myself.
Okay, cool. You're happy with that one. That's all good. So to kick it off, Bec, we're going to go into some headlines. So we ask every guest for a headline on their past, and their present and their future. So if there's a headline to describe your past, what would it be?
So I wish I'd been more creative with this now, but my past was that I was a physiotherapist working in the sports space. Currently, I work as a corporate wellbeing consultant and speaker. And in the future, I think my biggest passion is the area of mental health, which is why I'm studying, like you said. And I'd really love to be a change maker in the area of mental wellbeing moving forwards.
As we talk about that moving forward, we've got a lot of people who are trying to move forward, but we're all kind of stuck into this moment of 2020, and I think we all know it's a crazy year. So we've got a lot of people at the moment, job seekers who are looking for new work at the moment, and they face a challenge ahead. What would you say, Bec? Like somebody who knows the challenges coming up, you know they're going to face a few obstacles. What's the best way that people can maneuver around it?
It's a really good question. And I guess this is one of the times where we are faced with the fact that we know things are going to be a bit more tricky moving forwards. And I think for me, and the advice that I often give people is all around routine. So, if I know I'm going into an exam period or going into a particularly busy period with work, or when I was job seeking back after I finished uni, it was all about routine for me, because I think if you've got structure to your day, it means that you can be preparing yourself. So, having a great morning routine that might include some exercise, maybe some meditation to prime yourself for the day, getting a healthy meal in to start the day, and then having structured out the rest of your day so that you've got a plan for, what it is. Like maybe you're fixing up your resume in the morning and you've got a plan for what you're going to do in the afternoon. That feeling of structure and routine makes you feel like you've got more of a sense of control over your life, but you're also preparing your mind and your body to be at its absolute best for when you get into that position where maybe life is a little bit more stressful or a bit more uncertain.
Yeah, cool. And you said there about routine, and sometimes it's easy really to preach. And I know sometimes I'm in a really good routine, and then sometimes it's really easy to fall out of that routine. Like something I've kind of struggled with a bit recently with being in lockdown is like, it's so easy to be tied to your computer desk and just to work. And maybe you're cooking some food and then next minute you're on your laptop. Have you got any like kind of triggers you have for yourself which help that routine and stick it in place?
Yeah, I think for me, a morning routine is really key, because once you've got that feeling of progress and success from ticking off a few boxes first thing in the morning, it's a lot easier to then feel like the rest of the day feels more fluent. I think it's kind of like I've got the hard stuff out of the way, like your mind's in a good space because you've maybe done a bit of exercise, you've done some meditation. And I also find that if you've got sort of a set lot of routines, and we know through neuroscience, if you've got a set number of things that you do one after the other every single day, your brain then doesn't have to decide what it's going to do each morning. So you take away that willpower part and it's just like automated. You get up, the first thing you do might be chuck your gym clothes on, go for a run, get home, meditate straight away, make your healthy breakfast, write down your gratitude or whatever it is. And that takes away that level of resistance because it's just what you do every day. And it takes sometimes, depending on how long you've been doing your previous habit for and how ingrained it is, it can take up to a few months for it to feel really fluent and automated. But I think that's really worthwhile actually implementing that so that it becomes really automatic.
Because they always say like Mark Zuckerberg wears the same t-shirt and trousers every day, so he has less choices. Is that how that works?
Yeah, similar. Yeah.
Okay.
I think and often as a human, if you give yourself a decision to make, you'll take the easy way out because we're inherently lazy creatures. So we'll be like I could go for a run, or I could just sleep in and then like get up and have a lazy coffee and start my day. Whereas if every day it's just what you do and you don't have to sit there and think, oh, what shall I do today? Or even what sort of exercise shall I do today? It's been pre-planned and it's part of a routine, just makes it easier. But I think having said that, I'm also really careful to say, routine, you don't have to do that every single day. Like try and do it most days to begin with to make it a habit. But then obviously if you wake up and you're feeling terrible or it's the weekend, you want to sleep in, like it's important also not to be super rigid about these things.
Yeah, cool. And then obviously the ideal world, we see a job advertised, we apply for the job, we do a Zoom call, we do a Zoom interview and we get the role. But that doesn't really kind of work. So a part of the job seeking process is you're going to be faced with rejection for many different reasons. Any good ways that people can prepare themselves from that? Because it's not really, I don't think we come out of the womb wanting rejection in life, and in the job seeking process, it does appear quite a bit. Any tips on that?
Yeah, I was lucky with physio. I probably didn't have to go through this too much, but with running my own business when I first started, I had this all the time where you're trying to approach people and you just get knocked back because you don't have experience with it yet. And so the first year, probably I experienced this every day. And so the main things that I always suggest are firstly to try and make yourself mentally resilient. And I think that essentially means looking after your mental health. And that involves everything from having a relatively healthy diet, because we know that food really strongly affects our mood. So eating lots of veggies and not having too much processed food so you don't get those highs and lows. Exercising regularly, we also know is really good for mental health, which will help to make you more resilient. And then doing those daily practices, which might for you be something like just having a meditative walk where you're just paying attention to the world around you rather than being on your phone, or maybe it's gratitude practice or meditation. So I think that's the first thing. And then the second thing, I think it's just really important to have other interests. So obviously job seeking might be taking up, say, 7 hours of your day. And I always say it's kind of the same as dating, if you're the person that is literally just on the apps all the time, all you're ever doing is dating, you don't have any other life, people go on a date with you and they'll be like, wow, you're so boring. And so if you go to a job interview and you can be like, yeah, sure, I haven't had any work for the last 6 months, but in that time, I've also learned the guitar and I've been volunteering online for Beyond Blue because I'm really passionate about mental health, or showing that you've got other interests. Not only does it give you another area of focus so that this job seeking isn't your entire life and you might feel like you're achieving things in another area at the same time as job seeking, but it also makes you a more interesting person, and I think probably a better candidate as well.
That's cool. That makes sense for a lot of people as soon as you compared it to a dating website. I like to ask every guest this because we want to be forward thinking, and sometimes we need to hear some good stories. Like if we plug in Facebook, if we turn on the news right now, it's all kind of negative at the moment. So have you got any examples of anybody, family, friends, colleagues at the moment who've gone above and beyond recently and achieved what they're looking for?
Yeah, speaking from my industry that I'm working in, I've been working with some incredible HR managers at the moment who've just, it's a really tough time to be in HR, obviously. They're having to, potentially let people go, which is really awful. They're having to reshuffle and deal with where are people working and how are we going to do a safe return to work, etc. But so many of them have been contacting me and being like, okay, how can we quickly, we'll set something up. I really want to make sure the staff are okay. They've set up these incredible calendars of online virtual wellbeing programs. I've even spoken to a couple that have literally, they work for smaller companies, admittedly, but they've been calling up employees themselves once a week to check in if they know that they live alone. They've set up buddy systems where they've got people doing Zoom calls with each other. And I just think, it's not really part of their role. And a lot of them don't even have a background in well-being or know that much about mental health, but they've just realized there's no one else in the company that's going to do this. And they've stepped up and done it. And it's just, I think, really impressive.
That's really good. Whoever they are, for watching, gold star for you guys.
Yeah. Well
Well
done.
done.